Let me get a notepad just in case.
Okay, so all he's doing is going around to people and checking in on them, asking what they've heard about with regards to like the war and things that happened before and after, and what their concerns are basically stemming from that. So I don't know if you wanted to do something similar with PBSO.
Okay.
With that.
Wait, you said that he was asking what they've heard about the war from before and after? Or...
Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of shit flying around at the moment, especially with like the media and stuff being involved. So people are, I think, are quite rightly having concerns that stem from that. So I think that's what Bison is trying to get to the bottom of.
Ah, I see. Okay, that is good to know. Yeah, I haven't really been asking about that specifically, but I can definitely ask too. Is he trying to investigate something for that, or just?
I don't know. I think he might be passing it back to Libby to talk to in case there's like anything that needs to be answered from like a high command sort of position.
Oh, I see. Okay, so for questions that people may have, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been kind of angling it as more of a wellness check kind of thing. But that kind of makes sense from what I've heard when Dark, had to sit down with everyone and actually answered all the hard questions, which is something I don't feel like we have done so much. So yeah, that does make sense. I think that one would. I think I'd have to talk to Stubbs first and see if he'd be down to answer some questions like that, because it's the hard questions that a lot of people are a bit opposed to answering. Yeah,
100%. That was basically for anyone who couldn't make the meeting, but also if anyone had any questions after the meeting, so that it could sort of be covered. One person I will say that is probably going to need to be spoken to if they haven't been already is Hayes.
I'm writing that down.
So
yes,
before the war,
did
you hear about this? Okay.
Was it the dumb fuck comment?
Yeah, the dumb fuck shouting across the room full of people.
Yeah.
I think the issue there was the fact that High Command didn't. The issue for me was the fact that High Command didn't step in. They just sort of allowed it to happen.
Yes. See, I wasn't there at that time. I heard about it. So Anita messaged me, and then I came around after the storm the other day and had a chat with both of them. And I actually just got off a phone call with her, and she said that my chat with her the other day helped. I don't think it's perfect because there's still some things are happening, but I've asked her to just keep me updated as things go.
Oh, that's good then.
And and she said she doesn't want me to say anything to Snow, but I probably will have a word with him about it myself anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So that should be all sorted. I don't think it's perfect, but
No, yeah. It was a concern of mine because I spoke to Minerva yesterday and she said she was worried about Hayes. I just wondered if anybody had spoken to her, so I'm glad that's happened then. And then with the call that we just had, was it just me, or were there a lot of unnecessary sort of like breaking comms, like in terms of, I don't know if you noticed people just unnecessarily saying things that could have been 311'd? Or is that just a me thing? Because I'm like a big advocate for 311.
I think 311 is great. I think I'm a bit of a... I don't look at it enough, but I think everyone should look at it a bit more. I think when we were at the vault, people were kind of being quite lax, which I feel like is kind of the vibe recently with a lot of people. Chases have been kind of a mess, I will be honest. I mean, I spoke to a couple of people after that chase too, and they were saying how they just keep breaking off of things because there keeps being like 7 units suddenly on it. No one's like really like keeping a check on the amount of units on things. And then aside from that, comms as well are pretty messy, and a lot of people do shout over each other on the radio, and it does turn into lots of VCBs, lots of confusion, and in the end I think it puts a lot of stress on people. Also people following orders as well. Like someone mentioned after that you had asked 2 units to go and help out the bike Nancy situation, and about 5 of them showed up because they didn't listen to the comms properly.
Oh, okay. Great. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I couldn't give you names right now. I could probably ask the person who said it, but yeah, there was at least like 5 of them, so they just weren't listening.
Yeah. I think eventually it was kind of like, okay, we just need to collapse it down onto this one thing because we're just running ourselves out completely and losing track. I tried to get from, because I was primary on the call, I tried to get from the people that were inside negotiating, which would have been Abdul, like a primary target just in case, because I didn't want everyone just like flapping around like headless chicken.
Yeah.
But I guess there just wasn't one other than Dean Quincy who we identified, so that was fine. But then later in the chase, I'd apparently asked everyone to sort of collapse down to this one pursuit because there was also interference.
Candice would love to.
Nancy brought it to my attention. It was Breeze who went down as the 13 Bravo, but Nancy was with him because she'd seen him pursuing a bike, and there were 2 others that were interfering. So I kind of didn't want people being pulled off in case they were putting themselves in danger, and in that situation, they were. Breeze gave me a bit of context, but this was before I knew that he was sort of pursuing them when it had been called out to focus sort of the main pursuit. I don't know if he was chasing the interference off and then just continued chasing and then got stuck with them because they surrounded him and they were beating his car. So he tried to escape and accidentally ran a bike over him and blew himself and the bike rider up.
Oh, I see. That would have been a situation that should have been, I need 77s here, my car's getting beaten up, rather than it ending
but he didn't even call it out. Nancy tried to get as much information across as possible, and it kind of came out wrong. I've spoken to her. I need to finish the conversation with her, but she called out that the suspects were beating. There's an officer down. I thought she meant they were beating him, and there was an officer down.
That's what I heard too.
That's why I called for her to open fire, and then she clarified. Obviously, they were beating his car. The communications were so messy that it was kind of like, was it a 77s or a 78s? Because she was in the middle of it, which I didn't realize. She was apparently in the middle of it, and they had surrounded her. Yeah, she should have called for we should have broken off and just gone to her essentially at that point. But it wasn't clear because she said, no, don't shoot them. And then she hit her panic button. So I'm in the middle of explaining to her that she should have just said, there's a 13 Bravo, but I'm surrounded by suspects. There's 3 of them. And then I would have got people over to her ASAP without the need for the 78s call.
Yes, 100%. I think with the information you had, that it was the right call what you did, because it was very confusing, her comms over the radio. And it all turned out okay in the end. So as long as she's spoken to, I do think Nancy sometimes gets a little bit stressed and sometimes
panicky.
Pretty panicky, which is understandable in that scenario, in that situation, but it needs to be clearer, so.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think your call was absolutely fine on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you. I was just, because I don't know whether it was just me being an absolute stress ad, but you've just confirmed, obviously, that there's a lot of Shift 1 cases and stuff where I guess communication is pretty bad, and I've witnessed it myself. So I think we just really we should just crack down on it. I am gonna start shouting 10-3 over the top of people. I don't give a fuck anymore.
See, the only thing I will say though is I feel like it's a bit of a tough one, because right now morale is very
I don't
low.
Want to penalize people.
And as much as things are very messy, it may not be the best timing to call people out.
Yeah, I don't want to specifically call people out. I think people, see, the thing is people can be relaxed on the radio and actually can have a good time with it, as long as it doesn't go over the top where all of a sudden everyone's just having conversations or earlier just calling out unnecessary things while the suspects are going down a ladder towards the car, I
think what the best way, because sorry, I don't interrupt.
No, just because we didn't even realize the 80 had started when it had started. It just all of a sudden units were like, okay, we're going now.
I thought that. I was like, wait, it's already gone. It was it's I think this kind of thing, and at this time it may be best to do what you did with Nancy, right, where you dealt with it on the scene and then give constructive criticism after the fact, one-on-one. Because I think debriefs kill morale. It kills everyone's wants to be on duty. They're all shit. Everyone knows. Exactly. Everyone knows that. So keeping things one-on-one, if someone really is kind of, they're excessively doing something, they're consistently being messy on the radio, or they've done one specifically quite bad thing. One-on-ones, I feel always works better, especially at a time like now where morale's not the best, because it's more constructive, right?
Yeah.
It's a constructive conversation rather than like getting angry at someone or reprimanding them, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. All right, thank you for that. I just wanted to, like, you know, like use someone as a soundboard and just make
Yeah.
sure I wasn't going insane.
No, you are not going insane. I mean,
Yeah.
you might with the comms sometimes, but it's yeah, no, I think
Listen, I don't
it's
mind her being like a little bit like disjointed and stuff. It's just
productive,
when
yes.
it's making the process more difficult, which it was with the pursuit. Clearly people got confused and attached, you know, unnecessarily to another, like a one pursuit, leaving the other one bare. So yeah, when it impacts like that on the actual physicality of a call, then yeah, it kind of needs to be tightened up a little bit.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
it's not, and everyone's being able to like function properly at the same time, I have no problem with people, you know, being a little bit more relaxed on the radio.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's
Mm.
yeah, it's not too bad. Wait, what? Something else I was gonna say. I forgot what it was. Oh,
Okay.
I was also going to say about the getting the primary target. I think I always try and do that on vaults as well, trying to get the primary target and focus on them. I mean, you know, if in the end, you know, that primary target gets swayed, then obviously we shift focus. But having that primary target, and I try to 3-on-1 it and just make sure it is in everyone's minds, because everyone always goes like headless chickens. I feel like that helps the comms and helps a bit later on with the keeping it clear and concise for everyone.
That's why I was trying to get it out, was so that we didn't lose sight of what we were doing when eventually they were gonna, you know, obviously get into multiple vehicles.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, it is something that we've done for quite a while. I thought people were aware of it, but I'll just keep informing people that that's the sort of thing that we need to do.
Yeah, whenever we're at the vault, I
that...
always try to make sure, because some people just get a little bit lazy at the vault. They'll just be talking to the person and then we haven't really got any extra information. So then the chase gets started and it's over before it's even started, because they do one swap and everyone just will go for either one or the other or neither, and then you're just fucked.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Also, do you know if money bags is a thing now? Because Nancy called out one of them had money bags.
She did call that out. I have not seen it personally.
Okay.
But unless maybe he had a bags. What are they called?
Like
the ones like a rucksack thing, but
yeah, like an maybe it was just an accessory that looks like a money bag.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know.
He could have had the money in there, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out. Maybe ask her what kind of money bags it was. Might be useful.
Yeah,
be good if it was though. I mean, honestly, it's so hard now to get the loot. I feel like we haven't had the loot in so long. It's been so difficult.
Yeah, you have no idea who's got what anymore. It's yeah, the fact they can just put it in their back pocket is crazy.
Yeah, they just stuff that shit in. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Candice. I appreciate you.
Oh, of course. Thank you as well. It's always good to have these conversations.
Yeah.
Especially across departments, it's sometimes.
Yeah, it's like self-reflect, right? It's just to improve ourselves. So.